Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another super cool radio interview. I'm your host, Matthew Thomas. Thank you so much for tuning in. I have two great guests joining me at this time who I'm excited to have on the podcast. On August 5th, Shavrock will release their debut album entitled Hope Found Me. Please welcome from Shavrock, brothers Nick and Akiva.
Thank you. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you guys so much for chatting with me. Obviously, you guys have been very busy with Shavrock, so I'm excited to jump into everything.
Absolutely.
So before we really dive into everything, so I'm kind of curious, want to establish a little bit of background. So what drew you guys to music and forming a band?
Great question.
Our families, our whole lives revolved around music. My dad always played guitar. Both of our parents were big, music fans and introduced us to all kinds of different bands at a really young age. And it's really influenced a lot of our playing and the stuff that we like. It's interesting because a lot of the stuff that we like today is still the stuff that our parents kind of showed us, and we grew up on that.
Yeah, a lot of stuff from the 80s, and I remember
70s and 80s.
Yeah, I remember my dad showing me Slash from Guns N' Roses.
Yeah.
And I think that's what sort of did it for Nick and I.
The first time we heard, I think
November Rain, right?
Probably,
it was November Rain
or Sweet Child of Mine. We're like, what is that? We didn't even know what that was, and then it's just that was on repeat forever. My mom used to listen to Scorpions Worldwide Live, which was this cassette that that was I don't know, it was a 2-part cassette, and we used to listen to every single car ride, and that's one of our favorite all-time bands is Scorpions, and we really try to emulate little things from them, but obviously we're very different in that regard.
Oh, right. Very obviously great bands as well. So so with your parents, did they kind of really influence what music you guys got into at a younger age?
So definitely, I would say a little bit. Though Nick and I sort of went on our own journey.
We definitely went on our own journey
because we really gravitated towards the 80s in the sense of you have all the shredders and the guitar solos and everything like that.
And guitar harmonies.
And
great melodies. Great. Both of us, we have a very similar taste in music. We kind of are always sending each other different things because our tastes completely just overlap. We love melodic music, and for us, the 80s was the most melodic of everything. Most melodic guitars, most melodic vocals, harmonies. It was all there.
But that being the case, also, so we grew up in the 90s, so we were very influenced by that. But especially the early 2000s. So Creed, Three Doors Down, Daughtry, Nickelback, all those, Breaking Benjamin. So many of those, Alter Bridge.
Right, we love the harder edge of the sound and the melodic vocals, but what was lacking for most of those bands, other than Alter Bridge, is that there was no guitar solos in any of that music. That was great when Mark Tremonti stepped out of Creed and did the Alter Bridge thing. It's you got to see what the guy can do. He wrote some of the greatest intros to songs ever.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you realize, oh my God, Mark Tremonti could really give the guitar, and he's really tasteful in his playing. So
it's really a combination of genres or periods of rock, I guess, from the 80s through the 2000s. Or that really
70s too. There's a lot of good
Kansas, obviously.
We used to listen to music from the 40s, 50s, and 60s. My grandfather, when he used to drive us to school in the mornings when we were real little at carpool, we're listening to the Seekers, we're listening to John Denver, and we're listening to some of these really old songs. So we really appreciate every little bit of music that's kind of influenced our journey to where we are now.
It's so cool to have that just kind of whole collection of music that you guys from your grandparents, parents that you've listened to, and obviously a more current day as well with Alter Bridge, who's actually one of my favorite bands. I've seen them live, and they are just so good. They are just incredible musicians.
Yeah, so. we just got to see Miles Kennedy as well.
Yeah, it's funny. We've seen a lot of parts of Alter Bridge without seeing Alter Bridge yet. We just saw Creed twice in the past 6 months.
Yeah.
We saw Miles Kennedy when he was in Baltimore. That was an amazing show. One of the best live singers you'll ever see. He's both of us said the same thing after. He's just as good as it gets. But we'd love to see Alter Bridge.
Yeah, that'd be
amazing. Maybe we can travel a little bit and see those guys.
Absolutely.
Well, hopefully you guys get that opportunity because I've seen them twice, and they're just phenomenal. They're just so good, and they make it look easy too. That's the thing; they just make it look effortless.
I think it probably is for them. That's honestly got true.
It probably is. All right, but I did want to ask you. So you guys are brothers. Obviously, grew up together. I believe you're a year apart.
Yeah.
So was it always a goal to write and record music together?
I don't know if it was a goal. I think it just happened because everything in our life, we did everything together. We had sort of the same friend group and went to the same school. So everything was always, we were involved with each other. And then I think Nick started really progressing at lead guitar, and I became a very good rhythm guitarist early on. And then we just started, okay, you play lead, I play rhythm, and that's sort of how it went as well.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm looking back. I remember
Yeah.
that. Like when we start, I always wanted to be a drummer. It's really funny. I never ended up, going down and playing, like really like focusing on drums, because I very early on, my dad bought us this. It was a Washburn guitar called a Billy T Washburn that was like our first electric guitar, and we just shared that guitar. So once we got a real electric guitar and we started playing, that's kind of when we went full-fledged into guitar. As he said, I kind of dove in like, well, what did just Kirk Hammett just play? I want to learn that solo. So I was like much more like focused on learning all these solos by these different artists. Like that's what I was really into. And Akiva would play the rhythm. So we kind of were doing that for a while. But I remember as a little kid, like my dad had this like nylon string classical guitar. So he's just like, banging away on that. I'm banging away on the drums. We're just making a lot of noise. That's kind of like what our vision was as really little kids. But as we got older and,
things developed,
but we never, I think, ever figured like Shavrock would fully happen. We like dabbled like in our teenage years, like a little bit here, a little bit there. And, it kind of happened
the last 10-15 years when he started writing his original music, and then we realized we have a treasure trove of
there's too many songs, like
great songs out.
Sit on them, and we'd start playing. Like we had these little get-togethers where people would just we'd hang out, we'd eat, we'd drink, we'd have a good time, we'd sing songs. It was like very like cultural gathering, but we would have a great time. And then I'd be like, I just wrote this song and kind of, would want to see what everybody thought. And I kept getting really positive responses, which was, I guess, surprising. I don't know. I didn't know what to expect, because you never know when it's to you, it's familiar. To everybody else, they don't know what the heck you're doing. So to me, I liked it. I didn't know if they're going to like it. So we would play some songs, and right away there was a couple that, and then when there were future gatherings, like, hey, could you play that one? So it's kind of cool. They're like, and I'm getting calls from people like, you got to record this music.
Yeah.
But a lot of time passed from then till now, actually. So I kept on writing and writing and writing and writing. It's been years. I have, for the past 10 years, it was song after song. We were just sitting down because they're like, we're already thinking about a second album right now with Bumblefoot. And we're going back like, well, what about that song you did and that song you did and that song you did? And I forgot about a lot of them. But not to go off on a tangent here. So he was really the main force. I got to give him a lot of credit to kind of like reining me in, like, dude, we got to do this.
Yeah, we got to.
Because it's like,
I said, they're too good, for them not to be heard, honestly. And we kept getting fantastic feedback from friends and family. And that's when I eventually had this crazy idea to reach out to Bumblefoot.
It's always cool when you get like, positive feedback, especially like on original music. As you said, it's not familiar to people, but to have that positive reception definitely is obviously a great thing to hear, which kind of does drive and motivate you, obviously, to like continue with the music as well, which does lead us to the debut album, Hope Found Me, available August 5th. So before, obviously, I want to talk about, obviously, work with Bumblefoot. I've had the opportunity to interview him. Great person, awesome musician.
Yeah.
So, like, before we get that, I'm curious for the title. Like, how did you guys come up with the title for this debut album?
It's actually a very good question. So, before I answer that, I'll go back a little bit. It wasn't the first song that we recorded with him. The first song we recorded was meant to be just a single, which was "The Boy I Used to Be." Ron loved that song. Of all that, we showed him like 5 different, options, 4 or 5 options, and he kept on coming back. He's like, "No, I think it should be this one." But once we recorded "Hope Found Me," I think that really stuck with him, and we have so much respect for him and his knowledge, wisdom, and just his everything. He's like our biggest mentor in terms of anything related to music. It's Ron. He's just amazing, and he's never steered us wrong. And I can really say that he's just the best. He felt strongly about "Hope Found Me" was a song that I think would resonate with people. So many people are going through difficult things in their lives, and everybody needs hope. And that song really, I think, speaks to so many different walks of life, different things that people are going through. we really, when we decided upon that, we didn't really budge from it being Hope Family. We just decided it's too important, the message.
Yeah.
So we stuck with that. We had other ideas also because,
and the interesting thing is the theme of hope is really throughout pretty much every song, honestly.
Right. There's some, yeah, exactly.
So that's why we decided like this is the theme around everything and the hope and optimism. So we were like, we felt, and as Nick was saying, through the influence of Ron, we felt that that would be the proper title of just sort of what we stand for and what the songs are about.
Right. And it's also like going back about hope. So we're definitely optimistic in terms of our outlook. We try to think positively, and more than that, we want to help other people have that similar mindset. And if you really go through the lyrics, a lot of the songs, it doesn't start positive all the time. It starts, it could be, one of the songs called "Feels Like a Sad Song" that's on the record. I don't know if you got to hear any of the other songs yet, but you'll hear them soon if you haven't. It starts off talking about somebody kind of down in the dumps, going through things in life. And even with Hope Found Me as well, lyrically, it's the same type of concept. Somebody searching, somebody going through a difficult patch in their life, and then somehow hope finds that person. Whether that could be that they were looking and then they found hope, or, when they gave up looking, something just popped into their life that was the hope finding them. So it's too important of a message, and that's why we decided to go with that for the title. And we think it reflects us, it reflects the album, it reflects our outlook, and that's why it's the title track.
Well, I really like the title because hope is a very very important thing, and sometimes it's scarce, especially sometimes nowadays with everything going on.
Yeah.
So it's a great message to send to people. So I very much like the title, and it matches, obviously, as you were saying, kind of the messages and themes throughout the album as well. Kind of focusing on the music side. So for obviously it's gonna be available August 5th. What can people expect, like musically and lyrically, from Hope Found Me?
Oh boy, that's a great question, and there's so much, honestly. When we came up to record with Bumblefoot, we had an idea of sort of where we wanted the song to be. We obviously wanted a lot of guitar solos. We wanted that heavy distortion by the chorus, and everything like that. But he ended up elevating the songs to a point that we couldn't even ever imagine. And not only you have these very deep lyrics, but at the same time you have some of the most melodic guitar solos and fills, and we're blown away. Every time we listen to the album, we really are blown away. And I'll tell Ron, I'll be like, I just listened to this song and I still can't believe this. And it just, it came out so incredible. And not only that, we got the opportunity to feature Ron on 2 of the songs, and he plays the most unbelievable guitar solos. And so if you're like a guitar fan or a rock fan, you're really going to love these songs because every song is filled with guitar. And not only that, pretty much every song has a guitar solo.
At least one. I think every song is probably more than even one solo.
Because you have an intro, you have an outro, so
it's a very guitar-based album. Yeah, extremely guitar-based. I mean, the amount of guitars are on here. Every track, almost every track, especially in the beginning, I would play a 6-string and a 12-string. So you have a base of both of those before you even start getting into the electric guitars. Right. And then it was really important.
Then we bring in like the Gibson Les Paul to give it that sound,
fullness.
Yeah, exactly. As I mentioned, I was talking to Nick earlier about like just being influenced by Zakk Wylde and Slash, and we always wanted a Gibson Les Paul, and that's sort of like the sound we went after, and we've always been in that like pocket of humbuckers and stuff like that. And yeah, pretty much like every song has harmony on the guitar solos. Right. And
because we had so many influences that we loved and we wanted to emulate as well. We kind of it's hard to explain. Like there's an interview that Ron did, that Bumblefoot did, and he was quoted saying, it's like, if you could imagine like vocally, you take Simon and Garfunkel, and then you have like Slash on guitar, and then you add in like that Daughtry, Three Doors Down, Creed, heavier 2000s rhythms, and then a little bit of some of that Scorpions dual harmonies. Like, and then you find out what Shavrock is. Like we're just kind of an amalgamation of all the influences that we grew up and loved.
That's a great point, because I forgot to mention like the vocals. we have like in Hope Found Me, we have like this constant harmony, and most of the songs as well, we have a vocal harmony. Very similar.
I think Hope had the most.
Yeah.
There's two songs that we did the most Simon and Garfunkel-esque type of harmony. I mean, it's different, but it's got a similarity.
We're a little bit,
because we have a softer, more melodic type of voices, not a lot of rasp there. But we vocally sang almost line for line together throughout all of Hope Found Me. The same thing with a song called Feels Like a Sad Song. And there's another song called, I think, Love in Essence that also has that.
Yes.
So those three songs really have that type of soft harmonies throughout, but every single chorus or there's always going to be these really pretty harmonies. That's really our thing.
With driving guitar, and then a amazing guitar solo. And not only that, some of the songs, people don't even know this, that we actually took back to, it sounds like one guitar solo, we actually switched off and we took back-to-back guitar solos. So like in our song Bring Them Home, the first section's me, and then the second half is Nick, and then we have another song.
There's guitar harmonies. There's always, like, that's, don't want it to sound like, we're talking about ourselves, and it's like, we're so excited about this because there's so many people involved that added so many pieces. So it's like when he's saying, oh, there's so many amazing solos, he's reflecting about Ron, he's reflecting even myself, and I'm saying the same thing about him, because like we all appreciate what everybody brought to the table. Ron, what he's like, listen, we baked a cake and then everybody added icing. That was really the best, analogy to use for this. There was a lot of icing put on the cake, and even the guitar solo department, it started off, I'm like, I figured he's gonna be taking the solos. Even though, I always thought I was gonna be the lead guitar player of my own band, and then, when it came to actually forming Shavrock, and I don't know how it happened, I ended up becoming the singer because he has a great voice, he can sing as well. I ended up becoming the front man. He's doing the lead guitar and doing the backup vocals. But when we got into the studio, he was just like, Nick, I think you should take this one. And then so I took that solo. It's almost like 50-50 almost in terms of the album of who got what. And then you have Ron, who did, two or so solos.
Amen and Kaleidoscope. He laid down some incredible guitar.
I don't know actually if people would know it was him, because he was playing, I think, stylistically what kind of the album needed versus just like a Bumblefoot feature. In general, he doesn't, he's a very humble individual. He's not looking to showcase himself. Maybe if he gets hired by somebody specifically to be a feature, so he's going to do the Bumblefoot stuff, the crazy thimble tapping, all that crazy stuff that he does. That's like only he can do. He didn't do that on our album at all. Actually, it was really.
Similar to our style of just being melodic, and
he happens to be, by the way, people don't know this, he's probably the most melodic guitar player I've ever heard in my life. He has the discipline and the ability. He taught us this as well, where
it's not just about shredding.
It's not just about shredding. He's like, shredding is fun for people who love guitar shredding. They get to watch the guy go, oh my God, he's doing that so cool. Wow, I love that. But for the majority of listeners, you want a solo that's singable, that's memorable, that you remember the notes in your head, that when it comes up to that solo, you're kind of singing along with it. And that's what he really taught us, to be able to start writing guitar solos that are singable melody lines.
Exactly.
And that's kind of also what he did when he was featured there. He did some cool stuff though, but yeah.
Oh, for sure. He is such a phenomenal guitar player and very versatile, as you guys were speaking to, with his style. And he's just so cool. I said I had the opportunity to interview him a while back, and he's just so cool. And he's just such a fan of music. If not just like his music, just a fan of music in general. Like, he listens to so many different musicians, just a fan of music. And it's just so cool to see his excitement for music.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, actually, I can tell you, the smile on his face as he was laying down some of these solos. There's a solo called Kaleidoscope, and I remember I probably have a video of it somewhere. He's like a kid in a candy store when he was playing this thing. I'm just like, you see the amount of joy that he had when he laid down this piece, and neither of us would have been able to lay down that solo. There was a feel that he had for it that neither of us even thought of doing. Now it's like, oh yeah, that makes so much sense.
Right.
But he's playing his piece, and he's just like, he's sitting there smiling, like just enjoying himself. And that was really cool for us to be able to, like, we were able to appreciate him, like enjoying like the music, enjoying what he was doing. And that also meant a lot more to us, to see somebody that was actually enjoying themselves and adding to the project.
Yeah, absolutely.
Starting to close out this interview, so like, I'm curious for you guys. So we're heading into August. So like, what is like the rest of this year looking like for Shavrock?
Great question. So we're hoping to do some shows, God willing. And we've just been so busy, honestly, with getting the album ready and everything like that. And it happened really fast. And then we're so new to this just because like this is our debut album. So it's just been a whirlwind, honestly, of getting like merch and we like I'm
tremendous amount of work, tremendous amount of effort. We recorded this album in a very short period of time. So he's in New Jersey, we're in Baltimore, Maryland. So we would just kind of travel up there on weekends. But we would then, when it went from being the single was the first thing that we thought we were doing just a single. The fact that the album happens was just kind of like, God wanted it to happen. It's the only way we could.
Yeah, I have to say just one thing that it's a true blessing for us to be able to work with Ron.
We don't take that for granted.
No, not at all.
You look back at all the things that happened. It's like we really feel there's a lot of divine intervention, a lot of those small miracles that happened to get us to where we are. We never thought in a million years to be a 12-track record.
Right. The fact that he took us on in such a warm manner and kind manner, and it took us under his wing, and he literally mentored us. And we got to a point where Ron would say, okay, send me like a demo. And originally he had to like just say, okay, you want to get to the chorus faster. And we got to the point where we would send him a demo and he would say, all right, you don't need to do anything. That's perfect.
The arrangement's very, like, the biggest thing was learning how to arrange. Like where we were very amateurish, even though the songs were good, we just, for us, it's typical, okay, you do the chorus twice automatically, and then, maybe a guitar solo at a certain point. And he was able to teach us, like, okay, maybe we don't want to give too much right away, but we want to get to the point faster. So after a couple of sessions going up there, when we would send him a, acoustic track or whatever it is of how we wanted the song to be laid out, he's like, yeah, that's it. That's it. We don't have to change the formation. But to answer his question, right now, we really want to do shows. We're really focusing on promoting the album, social media. We have merchandise all available on records. Actually, I'll show you some stuff.
Yeah, we just got these
some really cool
fantastic hats. Yeah, with the Shavrock logo.
So it's actually our album art here, the Shavrock logo, and really wild stuff. We actually got really high quality merch done all locally. We don't want to do like, the DT8, what they call DT8
for something
transfers. Like, this is a real local print shop, really high quality stuff that's not going to fade, like, after a couple of washes. And
so we're really very proud of our what we accomplished with merch and everything. And now through Bumblefoot, actually, we're working with Deco Entertainment. That's going to be distributing our merch. So if you want to order a CD, you just go to Deco Entertainment under Shavrock, and it's all going to be there. And we actually have CDs coming out, the physical CDs, which is very cool.
Maybe we may do a limited record release. We're not sure yet. We have to see
vinyl.
Yeah, some vinyl. We have to see, like, what the interest is. So we were thinking that we may do a short run if people have enough interest in that. So right now it's really going to be, we're going to do some shows. We're not really planning a tour as of yet, but actually what I believe is it's going to be great to have the album out, give people time to listen to. When they come to a show, they'll know the songs. And a lot of them are very singable, so we're really excited about that. So we're going to focus a little bit of time, get the album out there, let people listen to it, and then hopefully we'll be able to see people very soon.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, right on. Well, obviously some awesome looking merch, and I will link the link in the description of the podcast as well. Make sure to support them. But for anyone watching, so like, where are the best places to find Shavrock online and social media?
So I would say YouTube, Shavrock Band, as well as Instagram.
It's also Shavrock Band.
Yeah, and on link to that, if you go to either one, we have our link tree, and that will give you our links to our Apple Music, our Spotify, our merch store. So you definitely want to check out our link tree on, like I said, on Instagram or on YouTube as well, and you'll be able to stream all the songs and everything like that, pre-order the album, all that good stuff.
And there's 3 lyric videos right now on YouTube. So that's the only platform that has the lyric videos. Yes. So for The Boy I Used to Be, our first single, there's a lyric video that was done there. Also, Hope Found Me and Bring Them Home. All 3 of those are on YouTube. You can find them there, but it's streaming everywhere. But if you want to watch a lyric video to understand what we're actually saying, that's available on YouTube.
Well, very good. As I said, I'll have some links in the description for music, merch, everything Shavrock will be in the description of this podcast. But thank you guys so much for stopping by, chat with me. It was awesome.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, we had a great time, Matthew. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Of course. For Nick and Akiva of Shavrock. I'm your host, as always, Matthew Thomas. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Super Cool Radio. And remember, stay frosty.